The economic impact of the refugee crisis across the world is staggering and completely overlooked, as all signs point towards a global economic collapse. In Germany, RT reports the German government will allocate nearly 94 billion euros for incoming refugees over the next 5 years. This includes housing integration, German language courses, and social welfare benefits, and dealing with the underlying causes of the refugee influx. In February, Der Spiegel reported the German government expects 3.6 million refugees to enter the country by 2020, including the 1.1 million that have arrived in 2015. And what does Germany get in return? 200,000 plus crimes by refugees were reported in 2015. The Gatestone Institute reports the actual number of crimes in Germany committed by migrants in 2015 may exceed 400,000. The report doesn't include crime from data from North Rhine-Westphalia, the most populous state in Germany, and also the state with the largest number of migrants. North Rhine-Westphalia's biggest city is Cologne, where on New Year's Eve, hundreds of German women were sexually assaulted by migrants. Andre Schultz, director of the Association of Criminal Police in Germany, says, "For years, the policy has been to leave the German population in the dark about the actual crime situation. The citizens are being played for fools. Rather than tell the truth, the government officials are evading responsibility and passing the blame onto the citizens and the police." 10% of the migrants from the chaos in Iraq and Syria have reached Europe so far. 8 to 10 million migrants are still on the way, according to Gerd Muller, Germany's development minister. The jobless, non-assimilating refugees are doing the exact opposite of what was lauded as a positive economic boon. Jobless rates among refugees are weighing down on the welfare systems, where, for example, in Greece, where they are heading for yet another bailout, refugees far outweigh the unemployed Greek citizens that were already under pressure with the fight to stabilize their own economy. As the Business Insider reports, on the one hand, you have countries like the UK, Estonia, and Ireland, where the jobless rate of migrants is pretty similar to that of its domestic citizens. Moreover, in the Czech Republic, Cyprus, and Latvia, the jobless rates among migrants are even below those of domestic citizens. Migrants from outside of the EU see much higher jobless rates. On the other hand, however, in places like Slovenia, Spain, France, and Sweden, the jobless rates among the migrants are over 10% above that of the domestic citizens. Regardless, the handouts just keep coming out of the taxpayer's pocket. The Belgian government awarded a convicted al-Qaeda terrorist roughly $88,000 after the jihadist claimed his extradition to the United States violated his human rights. The ECHR ordered to pay the jihadist no less than about $100,000, according to RT. His family, which lives in Belgium, had already received 11,000 euros. The United Kingdom has given, as of today, over $1 billion in aid to the refugees. The United States has dropped nearly $3 billion on the Cloward and Piven-style crisis. The criminals are clearly running the global economy off a cliff, all in the name of an emerging New World Order rolled out in the secretive trade treaties that are on the verge of enforcement and an engineered refugee crisis. Meanwhile, the citizens of the world are unwittingly financing their own enslavement. The time for half measures is over. John Bound for Infowars.com.
Very important report. I love to kick the broadcast off several days a week with the John Bound Report. When we come back, there are a bunch of news articles about Facebook, and they're asking, is Facebook censoring individuals' pages, not just conservative and libertarian groups? And the answer is absolutely. We've seen countless examples of our listeners over the years not able to share our memes, our videos, our articles. So by extension, when they censor, say, a pro-national sovereignty, anti-open borders group, which they admit they've done, they're then censoring you being able to share it. So it's good to see that blowing up. Boy, there is so much to cover. Big quakes rumble in the Northwest, volcanoes, a bunch of Second Amendment news, the good, the bad, and the tyrannical. We've also got the latest on Clinton declares victory in Kentucky primary. Sanders wins Oregon. And Sanders is refusing to step down. He's really in the lead, but they're still in the election from him. This is very explosive. Stay with us. I know we got a lot of emails, a lot of comments, even from folks here in the office, that they like the fact that I spent the first 45 minutes of the news yesterday pretty much just reading headlines and then giving a very short comment to it. And And I'm going to attempt to do that again today. But boy, I tell you, the theme that emerges from the news and also what I experience every day is massive weaponized fifth-generation warfare by the social engineers to create absolute divide and conquer, a total Tower of Babel, a Tower of Babel. So the technotronic computer grid, algorithm-controlled AI computer system can just take over while we're all busy running around fighting with each other over the most mindless idiocy. All over the country, breakdown as men are going into bathrooms and people are freaking out, giant boycotts and billions lost in Target. Colleges and high schools announce all over the country looking at a black person in the eyes is racist. Smiling at a black person is racist. Frowning is racist. And this is the government and the media doing this, not black people or anybody else in this country. It's meant to totally make everyone uncomfortable and cause the disintegration in society and make everyone absolutely mentally ill, chip on the shoulder, uptight losers. But imagine if the people completely woke up to this and saw through it and rejected it and said no to it and refused to submit to it. That would be a beautiful thing. It's gotten so extreme that I personally, recently, have heard people twice say, don't use the word Mexican when you describe something as Mexican, like Mexican food. It'd be like if some lady was dating a German immigrant, you'd say, yeah, she's got a new German boyfriend. I actually heard someone say, yeah, we're going out to dinner to meet her new Mexican boyfriend. And somebody went, you don't say Mexican. And then I heard someone else a week ago say, don't say, let's go eat Mexican food. That's offensive. Like mother or father or he or she. They're making the whole language where you just freak out and don't even use language because it's threatening to you and you get in trouble if you do. That is directly out of Ingsoc and the Fabian Socialists and their admitted plan that is in mainline textbooks in the UK and was actually put into fiction via 1984, where they're reducing the language. I mean, this is so hardcore. And you see the small guild of weirdos, mainly bizarre, chicken-necked, weird white people that actually follow all of this. They are basket cases. But they're really proud of the fact that they're using the latest language up to date and do what they're told. It's like that Portlandia episode from 5-6 years ago where they come in and ask, what was the chicken's name? Where was he born? Where did he go to school? Was he treated well? They spend like an hour talking about it. Finally say, I don't want the chicken. I want the fish. Moral signaling. It's a cult. And these people in every statistic are many times less likely to give to charity. They're many more times likely to rob you. They're many times more likely to run scams and to not work hard because they are mental patients who operate in a world of ninnying and backstabbing and tattling and freaking out and false flagging. Every day, I run into so many examples of false flag, self-inflicted wound, staged events that I don't even cover them by the social justice warriors most of the time. Muslims are doing it at massive levels and getting caught. Homosexuals are doing it at massive levels. And again, I'm going to say it. I don't dislike anybody, but I'm not going to use the words you tell me to use anymore when you say use gay, or because then it's don't use mother and father. It's heterosexual, homosexual. It's again, sounds reasonable, but it turns into control of language and people saying what language to use. But it's like the homosexual preacher that goes in Whole Foods and makes up the fact that they put fag on the cake. I told you day one that was fake. And of course it was fake. And we've got a black student running around at a college beating up 3 people on surveillance cameras in his racial jihad attack. And then he just went to the police and said, I have been racially attacked. It was a big national story. And, of course, they went to the surveillance camera, and it wasn't happening. But it's a climate where they teach everybody this is how you get ahead. There's an actual mainstream news article today about Bill Clinton's man-spreading. We're going to show photos of your TV viewer. And it's got a whole bunch of photos of him at the White House kicking back with his leg on a stool. You know, just the confident, relaxed pose, like the famous Greek statue where the legs are a little bit spread open and the man's sitting there relaxed with his fist to his chin. I mean, that's how men sit. But see, they make that something aggressive, so people tell you don't do it. Because they got to find things that aren't racist. They got to find things that aren't aggressive to women to make everyone guilty. They have to find things that everybody does so they can attack you. Like Bill Clinton serving fried chicken in Kentucky. I mean, that's what people basically eat fried chicken. I don't care if they're white or black or who they are. That's where fried chicken comes from. Basically, that area of the, quote, South, right on the Mason-Dixon line. I mean, back then, folks, people fried meat. They fried chicken. Most people fried meat because it made it taste better. But the point is that when a basketball coach sits with his knees open, or Bill Clinton does, that's how you sit comfortably. Has nothing to do with attacking women. But I'm sure he'll come out and apologize for, you know, having his knees apart when he sits down, but raping women's okay. It's the same thing. Donald Trump's bad because he asked women out on dates when he was in between marriages. But it's okay that Clinton's flying around with Mr. Epstein, you know, on the Lolita Express pedophile plane to Pedophile Island. Because they want to target Trump and say something that every man does, or most men do, certainly that alpha males do. I mean, if you don't go up and charm women and start talking to them, you're not ever going to get a date with them. I mean, they're making normal mammal activity basically illegal. You can watch male birds hop around your yard up to females. Are they being aggressive? Are they being evil? No, that's what creatures do to mate. You can watch a male whale swim up to a male female. Is he trying to rape her? No, if she's an estrus and is into it and likes him, she's going to mate with him. But again, they're attacking the basic species where Donald Trump's bad because he asks women out on dates and treats them very well. And then Bill Clinton's bad because he has his legs open when he sits down a little bit, but it's okay that he's settled a bunch of rape cases. This is, again, about making everybody guilty, everybody bad, and then having the state and the system ninny and tell us what to do. Oh, and CBS News is apologizing, but they're saying they'll do better. They've got a couple hit shows that have mainly male lineups. Well, there's hit shows with female lineups. But it's known in Hollywood, it's known everywhere in the world, it's known back in thespian days that women like to watch men more and men like to watch men more as well. Movies with main stars being men, with some female actresses as stars as well, are the top grossing movies, are the top grossing books, are the top grossing plays. So they want to basically ban it everywhere and say what ratio has to be there so there's not competition. But it's really about the state saying what you can have in a movie, what you can do. See, they don't want to just shut down Infowars.com or DrudgeReport.com with the Federal Elections Commission, FEC, openly saying they want to regulate him. They want to regulate everything, regulate speech. This is so totalitarian, and it's out in the open. So I'm done ranting about that. We'll actually get into these articles, but there it is, Entertainment Weekly. CBS says shows are more diverse despite criticism. And they're just complaining that there are leading men in the movies, period. See, there's a directive for video games and movies and TV shows that's admitted, where if you want an Oscar, have all the main tough guys be women. If you want an Oscar, have it all be centralized on women. And that's not to help women. It is simply to set up bizarre cultural wars. I saw a story on CNN this morning that we'll cover in Cleveland of the predominantly black neighborhood that has the highest test scores in Cleveland. But they're going to bus people upwards of 10 miles across town